Dialing in, dialing in, dialing in.
Oh,
Here we
coffee.
go. We've just burnt 2 minutes of Boy's recording time.
All right, brother.
Okay, we are live and we are ahead of schedule. I'm going to put myself on mute there. 10 a.m. boom on the dot. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Agents Weekly Blueprint, proudly by the Alpha State of Mind. Happy Fab Friday, chaps. What a phenomenal week it's been.
Oh,
GrowCon,
yeah,
Adelaide,
my God.
Wednesday. Who's still buzzing from the height of the day itself?
Grocon was awesome. So
Yeah.
good.
Corey smashed it out of the park, mate, on stage, live demonstration, social digital marketing genius. Incredible feedback from you, mate, and the event, and our very own incredible man that leads from the front, Bjorn Kunzel, on the 5Ws, the psychology of sales, right? Which is super important because, as we know, we're a people business. It's all about connection and relationships, not so much property. And that little session where he dived into the 5Ws of making it about the people, not so much yourself, an inspiring and empowering event. But as always, it's that time of week where we come together to collaborate and help you find success within your own real estate businesses and to gear you up for another successful weekend that is now knocking on our door. And today, a little bit of an extension from what I dived into last week with, dominating your core farm BDA postcode area. Marco is now going to continue diving into that space of, how to really create the edge to become that locally known market expert in that area. So, Marco, you're the hostess with the mostest today, mate. Give us a little bit of a synopsis of what we're diving into today for the viewers.
I think today is more so like I always use this word, getting back to basics.
Yes.
And I love that word because I think, with real estate, we kind of, get in the whirlwind, this data here and AI there, and we should be doing that there, and you see all this. But the mechanics of real estate is quite simple as long as you keep following it. And this is kind of bringing you back to, if you are wanting to do a farm area, if you are an agent that wants to kind of potentially start a farm area, you've been in the industry for a while, but you want to come back to the basics on how do I start it, how do I go back to it, or this is also for agents that are new into the industry, wanting to go, okay, well, how does this all work? Like, how do we pull this all apart, get it all started, and then off the back of your presentation, then you can look at Chris's presentation on what to put out there, what letterbox drops to do. But today is more got to do with the actual mechanics, some scripts and dialogues, and that's pretty much it. Like just really going back to basics in the farm area and how to pull it all apart. And I'll show you some tricks with RP data. If you are using RP data, you can do it in Price Finder as well.
Awesome, man. It was really cool at the GrowCon conference Wednesday in Adelaide. We covered off a lot of tech and AI, but we also stripped it back and went back to the basics. But again, even as industry agents, we do so much online, the way we collaborate and share. But again, getting to the basics, just being at an event in person together, the connection, getting to see and meet other people who know of us and we know of them online, that whole relationship, the basics of that will never go away, whether it be an event like that or what you do in your own real estate transactional business in your core farm area. So, mate, pump for this session. That's a good lead in and segue. Folks, we are live on the chats too. So if you've got any questions of Marco and what he's covering off today, don't be shy. Put your hand up, comment
Absolutely.
away. And also the session that we did last week where I shared more so the intel of what we're putting in people's letterbox drops, from creating AI publications to then getting those AI publications into the letterbox drops
Yeah.
with QR codes. That recording is on our group page, so you can go back, have a look at that. And there's also all the Canva share tiles, everything we shared in that session last week. It's all on our page there for free. Go and grab it.
And the other,
So,
and the
mate,
other thing is just with that, this session and your session is connected together. So that's all the marketing, and this is the actual mechanics on how to then do it all, and so on and so forth. So let's jump into it, shall we, boys? And by the way, you're going to be on the hook because I'm going to do some scripts and dialogues today as well. So I'm going to be making sure that you guys are awake and just hit you up
feeling
on
sharp.
that.
Ready to roll, mate. Ready to roll.
All right, so let's do some screen sharing, shall we? And we're going to share.
Should have enabled that.
Here we go. Can we see that, gentlemen?
Coming through, mate. Yes.
Okay. So what we've got here is basically step one. So if you're just starting off fresh in the marketplace, and I know, Bori, I've taught this to you. This is basically how I did it. So we're going to go back to Paralawi. Bori, remember when we first started Paralawi and how we were going to pull everything apart. And this stuff here is not going to cost you anything. That's the other thing. This is all free. You can do this for free. There's no fancy technology or systems or anything like that you need. You can do this for free. You just need a spreadsheet. You need a subscription. I mean, most agents that are with brands or not with brands, they would have RP data or price finder. And so this is I guess the recipe that you need. And here we go. So starting off, we basically log into your account. And what you want to really do is think about it this way here. On the whole year, you're doing 12 months. But out of those 12 months, you're not going to be doing all those 12 months because you've got holidays. You're working probably around about 295 days, 290 days. So you kind of pull it apart and you go, okay, well, maybe I want to do my farm area. I want to have a 2 cycles, so 2 cycles, but you're only doing 8 months. Okay, makes sense?
Absolutely.
Right, and in those 8 months, you want to pull it apart that you're working 4 zones, right? And you're doing 4 months and 1 month per zone. Again, makes sense?
Absolutely.
You?
Yep.
I think to include it, some suburbs are smaller than others, so you might choose different suburbs in that one zone. So that's what you taught me as well.
So it doesn't matter. And what you want to do is that because you've got 4 weeks in a month, generally speaking, apart from, February and stuff like that, but generally speaking, you've got about 4 weeks, and you really want to kind of split up those 4 weeks. And what are you doing in that zone, in that suburb? And that's what I'm going to kind of show you. What you want is you probably want around about 300 to 800 homes, depending on the zone and the suburb. But that's pretty healthy, 300 to 800. And what you're doing please remember, the first 12 months, what you're doing this is pretty much gathering data. You're gathering data. You're going to the homes. You're making phone calls. You're just kind of cleaning that data. And what we want to do is, what we want to find is first names, last names, email address, phone numbers, right? And then also property information on how much is the property worth, because you want to kind of gather that information. And then also finally any kind of personal commentary or relationship commentary or notes that you want to put in there. So there is some communication points when you're actually making phone calls or door knocking, because once you do this consistency, the people, what happens is most of these kind of zones, agents will do this probably for maybe 6 months. They'll maybe do it for 12 months, and then they'll stop. But what these homeowners will see is the exact same thing. There's flash in the pan agents. Here's a letterbox drop. I'm knocking on the door, making a phone call. Would you like a market appraisal? And then they disappear because, as real estate agents do, they don't have discipline or consistency. Now, the ones that do have discipline will absolutely nail this, because once you start going over a cyclical kind of discipline consistency with your zone, you will then start making friends with these people. And what we always say is that it's probably by the time that you've made your 8th contact with the person, they'll actually start remembering you. So that's a phone call, door knock, letterbox drop, right? And that's what I guess the strategies you're working on. You want to get them to start remembering you, and this is how we're going to do it in your suburb. Not only that, but then also you become the suburb expert. But it's also you're also going to be there as the real estate agent, that if they have any questions, whether it's this, the pricing of the suburb, whether it's, you need a rental property, or I've got a friend of mine that needs a hand, my mum needs a hand, they're going to be calling you because you've been there assisting them and giving them information. So let's jump on here. And I've also kind of started this. So we'll go fresh. I'll show you exactly how to create them. So let's go to RP data, right? And in RP data, you will get to this screen. Now you go to, what you want to do is you want to go to saved territories, right? And it says here you can create territories. So I've rather than me showing you through and going through the laborious process, I've actually created these territories already. So this is Paralawi. What you want to do is you want to get the whole region, or the suburb that you're working with, or whatever area that you're working with, and you want the whole of that. Now, the reason for this is because then you can put this in a watch list. So RP Data has a watch list. So anything that comes up in the marketplace, it will notify you. Not only that, but then also you can actually do certain things like market information. So you can kind of click on all of this. It tells you, your general stats. There's a whole lot of, so that's your master. But what you want to do is you also want to then split up your master into those 4 territories that we spoke about. So let's go to what I've done here. So on a second. Here we go, zone 1. Okay, and that's how you do it. Now, you go, how do we do that? Okay, well, that's perfectly fine. So let me show you. You'll get to a page which is like this, right? And you can have a look, and you can kind of triangulate with this button here, the zone that you want to be working with. All right. So then that way there, you go, okay, save, and then it goes back to, so see, it goes back to that page, which we just showed you before, which is like this. So it'll show you the zoning as well. Now, what you want to do with the master, first things first, what you want to do with the master part is you want to then, you go click all, right? So select all, and it goes export into a CSV. Now, this is important because what you're doing, you're taking your CSV folder, which is I've got here, right? And I've downloaded into here, and then I've created this. So this is your kind of like your master file, and this is cleaning your dirty data as such. Because what you want to do is you want to put really clean data into your database. So from here, once you start going out, letterboxing, phone calling, and all that kind of stuff, you start then putting it into your database. Now, bearing in mind, when you are putting this into your database, so I've got zone 1 here, zone 2, zone 4, and your numbers here, right? So you've got it all here. So what you want to do is you want to also categorize it. This is a hot tip for you guys. You want to categorize it. So what happens is you've got this information. You put all this into your CRM, but you've got your first name, your last name. You've acquired that. You've acquired their phone number, the email address, right, and some notes. And here, when you're out in the field or when you're making phone calls, you can kind of have all the right notes and data here, and then put it into your CRM. But categorize it saying, let's say for this one here, it's Paralawi zone 1, Paralawi zone 2 and 3, Paralawi zone 4, or whatever in your area, whatever area that you're working with, that's what you do. Because then in your CRM, when you're going through, you can actually send localized emails to that zone. Make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions at this stage? It's pretty.
Right. This is very, very good. I didn't even know you can create zones like that in CoreLogic.
Yeah.
That's new to me.
I'm doing it live.
Yeah,
Mate, can I just ask?
Yeah.
When you create the boundaries, like it's picked up commercial businesses before I've gone to the export.
Good question.
I'm assuming because I don't want to deal with commercials, like it's brought up Burton, Springbank Plaza, Woolies.
Yeah.
I don't want that. So you can just filter it out through the filters above.
So you can do, so you can clear.
Yeah.
Bang, bang.
So I just want the houses in my core area. Yeah.
Maybe depending on what and then basically that's all you do, and then search, and it will.
Wicked.
Right. And then you're done.
Wow.
All right. So this is kind of like, and again, I guess if you're using Price Finder has the same kind of workings around with zoning and the boundaries, and you can monitor it as well. But let's just quickly, you can do it anywhere. You can call it whatever you want, and you can zoom in to whatever zone that you want, like this. Let's say Salisbury. Again, I'll just quickly give you the explanation here. So bang, bang, like this. I want to highlight this zone here. And you've just created yourself a target zone area. You call it, let's just call it contest for now, right? And save. And it spits this out for you straight away. Then you can, like we said before, look at that. And you've got some really good information there as well. Now, you can select all. Oh, sorry. select all, and then you CSV it. Now in this CSV, you can pick up certain things if you wanted to. So you can do attributes, owners' names if you want, and this will spit it out all for you in an Excel spreadsheet. So you download it like this, and it will literally download like that for you as well. Okay, so
yeah, right.
And then that's what this is here. Okay, so that's just steps there. Now, if once you set up these zones, you don't have to. What you want to do with zone 1, zone 2 is you don't pick it from here. You pick it once you've created these zones. It will allow you to do that as well. Okay, so like say zone 4, bang, download, and then what you do is you set up your separate spreadsheet, and then you copy and paste it into your master spreadsheet for zone 1. Does that make sense? I know it's a bit technical, but in that way there. And what I was doing back in the day with Bori is that you could even go, if you want to be super technical, is you go, okay, let's find out the run that you're going to make across your suburb or your zone. And you go, okay, well, I'm going to copy and paste that address there, and then the next street over, and so on and so forth, all close enough to it. So when you're doing your letterbox drops or your door knocks, right, it's in that sequence itself. Now these phone numbers here as well, you can get this from ID for Me. You can, and both Price Finder and RP Data have these kind of numbers. Now these numbers are not great, but it's a good starting point for any agent that's starting off, needs some
building a database.
I mean, it's still not too bad. You've got 6,000. Out of that, you're probably maybe 30% is going to work for you, maybe. And then, but the rest of the stuff is going to be your grunt work. You got to go out there. You got a letterbox drop. You got a door knock. Now, hot tip with this list here, as you can see, I've got it in Google Docs. The reason for it is because what you can do is when you're going out there letterboxing or door knocking, you can bring this document up on your phone, okay, and enter in the data as you go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, man. I think that's a really good point too, man. Like, because I talked to a lot of agents that are like, oh, I'm starting out, or I lost my database because I moved. They wouldn't give me a copy of it. Where do I start to build a database? This is what you do, right? This here will give you 30% accuracy. But then what I would suggest is go get ID for Me. What is it, $100 a month? I think. Plug it in for 3-4 months. Cross check ID for Me with your Excel spreadsheet here, and that's going to increase your accuracy to probably about 80% correct through ID for Me. And then you've built your database. And then if you want to continue ID for Me, keep it. If you got your database of 1,000, 2,000 contacts, you can disconnect it and you've built your database to start nurturing.
Yeah. And that's as simple as, and then the thing is, like, a part of your prospecting strategy for your business, if you're just starting off, a farm area is a perfect strategy to implement in your business as part of, like, I would only probably have maybe 2 or 3 strategies in your prospecting for your business. So one would be if you're starting off a farm area, or if you're an agent that wants to kind of rediscover themselves, this would be a fantastic way to kind of reignite your business as well. And then on top of that, you've got a few other prospecting strategies that you can do as well.
So we've got a question from Amanda Kerr. She's asking, how do you select the correct amount of properties? That is, if you want 300 in zone 1, can you?
Well, it's just, you got to fiddle a little bit.
Yeah, you just got to nudge the borders, like the little.
Yeah, and you can go back.
So you can't say you can't tell RP Data say I only want 300 homes. You've just got to shorten the borders, so then it gives you, because it gives you the total count, obviously. Yeah. So you just got to manage the borders of when you're drawing your lines. Yeah.
Exactly. So I want to show you this very quickly, because I got the Zoom thing on there. So in 2 seconds, I just wanted to show you here. So when you are nudging, like, you can go like this. You can go recreate. And then you can go like this and just hold it.
Yeah, okay. So you can refine it less or more that way.
Yeah.
But that's the only way you can change the quantity, is the size of that map. Yeah.
But yeah, so you can do it that way there. So cool. Yep. Save update. So you can update it, and then it will give you those numbers.
There's the numbers there. Yep. Cool, man. Hopefully that answers your question, Amanda.
So that's basically how you set that up. And then from here, you've got some pretty cool information. Now, once you put it in, when you're going, this is when you're doing door knocking, right? Because the reason why, what you want to do is when you go hit the street, you hit the actual property itself. You have this up on your phone, right, or your tablet, or whatever it might be, right? Or you can print this out. We used to do it old school way where we printed this out, and you have a piece of paper with a little board, and your
Clipboard.
clipboard, and you're basically just writing the notes in here. But the cool thing is here is that if you have it here, and you can also bring your zones and territories up. So if you got RP Data app on your phone, you can actually bring these territories up as well. So imagine how cool it would be if you bring up this territory that you're working in, right? Zone 4, you're going to number 4, Barassi Street, right? And you go here, you've got the data, you've got the actual person's data, you've got the property here. If they knock on the door, they want some information. You have got, okay, it's a 4-bedroom, blah, blah, blah. And last time, I can see the last time they sold, so they might be potentially selling. There might be a situation. But you've also got some pretty good information already rocking and rolling for you. In saying, oh, okay, yeah, I've seen your home is 605 square meters. It's 173 meters squared. I see you sold. I think I know that. You kind of make it up, but you go, you sold about 2005, was it? Yeah, really. Oh, and it was about 280,000, something like that. Yeah, the market. Yeah, it looks like you've been here for what, 20 odd years. There it is.
You're a market expert, Marco.
And basically you've also got some pretty quick hints and tips there that you've got. Even if you're not an expert in the area and an agent that's just starting off, you've got these tools that you can utilize at your fingertips to look like that you're a market expert, right? So look at that. You've got, currently Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, once they say, yeah, I want some information. Look, currently in the marketplace right now in Paralowie, it's $550 per week is your average rental return. In the marketplace right now, your median price points are $661,000. And in my rough estimation in the area, property of yours is worth probably around about between $750 to $850. Without me having a look at it, that's probably where the property value lies. And you just go from there. And look at that. You've got recently sold, Byron Drive here, General Drive in the area. So you've got that on your app, on your RP Data app. So you can have kind of that all working itself while you're out there letterboxing, outside door knocking. Look at that. So it's got some pretty good information. So, you hit one door, you can have that information at your fingertips, filling it all out. Then, because they think, okay, well, you seem like a market expert. Yes, I want some more information. Because then afterwards, would you like some more information like this? I've got a market report that I can send to your phone or via email. What's your first name, last name, email address, and so on and so forth. But I guess going back to gathering this data. So in terms of phone, let's say if we're making a phone call here, it's cold data that you've got here. Okay. You got to think about what you're doing during the week on what you're going to be saying to these people, because they don't know you, and they probably get a million of these phone calls constantly, right? And you just say what you want to do is ultimately you want to introduce yourself, number one. Then you also express your intent and what you're going to be doing in their area and what you're trying to do in this phone call, and then also letting them know that I've also got some stuff that I can give you for free. So that phone call would go something like this: bring. How you doing, Mr. and Mrs. Let's say Smith. My name is Marco Filigbari from eXp Realty. You might not know me. This is also going to be a very short phone call, so bear with me. I'm just introducing myself. We haven't met before. I'm now working in the Paralowie area. I'd love to be able to give you updated information about the marketplace. Now, I know that you get a lot of information from other agents. The thing that sets me apart is that I'm going to be here in your area consistently, delivering information year in, year out. Okay. Now, if you give me a chance, I would love to send you some information about what I can do. What's your first name, last name, email address? So that's the kind of conversation, and you're going to get pretty frosty responses. But if you hit that, oh, don't call me again, they hang up on the phone, all that kind of stuff, right? You just keep repeating that process. And I tell you what, within the, probably the third or fourth time you approach that person, they'll go, okay, well, he seems to be there. And you'll get them. But it's about getting this and getting clean data into your database. Now, with door knocks, it's a different setup altogether as well, because, you're right at the front door. But with a door knock, you want to take a market report, which is a piece of paper that you want, or you can show it on your tablet. and you want to take your business card, right? And then basically what you want to do is you want to go there, you knock on the door, and you don't say too much. You go, "Hi, my name is Marco Filigraro from eXp Realty. Here is my business card. I'd love to give it to you. Okay, I'm the area expert in the area." You know, and then kind of go from what the response. If the response is frosty, "Look, I don't want to talk to you, blah, blah, blah," all that kind of stuff. Cool, no worries. Look, I'll leave it here at the front door or in your letterbox drop. I'll be, you know, back in the next 3 or 4 months saying hi again. That's all you do. Just an introduction. That's that first. The second time around, the third time around, it'll be less and less frosty. But let's say if it's a positive response and they say, "Hey, yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, love to know a little bit about the marketplace." Great. Well, look, I offer this piece of paper. You show them. I offer this reports on a monthly basis. I can put you on a mailing list. I got some really cool real estate information. Would you like to do that? Yep, no problems. Also, that's that kind of soft open. And then, "Hey, you know, have you had your property appraised recently? Have you had your property, you know, are you curious about the marketplace? Are you curious about these other things? Are you curious about the sales on your street? Do you know all the house prices in the street and what they're sold for? You know, is there any information that you are curious about?" And that kind of then opens it up to then having a conversation. But you're trying to just give. You're giving. I've got the knowledge. I'd love to give it to you. If you are curious, I'm here to help. Okay. So that's what you're trying to do in cleaning that data and introducing yourself. And then I guess the other thing, guys, is like you're not going to get everyone. There's going to be people that you don't like. They're not going to like you. There's no point forcing that relationship. So just move on. Like you don't need to get 6,000 bits of data. You essentially what you need to get. The reason why we're doing from 3 to 800, you're condensing that down slowly, because you're building a database of people that you want to deal with. They want to deal with you. And out of, you know, the 3,000 bits of data that you've just collected out of those 4 zones or trying to collect, you only really need to get around about 1,000 really good customers or clients in that zone. And then you've got yourself a pretty tight database.
Yeah.
All right. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, it does, mate. That's very good information.
So let's get back to this bit here. So that's pretty much just running down you know, how to get the zones set up, all that kind of stuff. Now, and then organizing your spreadsheet, categorizing your contacts as well, right? And then being able to offer regular updates as well. So certain things like we've talked about door knocks and phone calls, right? But at the same time, what is certain things that you can, what we like to call warm up the client, warm up the data, right? And kind of coincide with the phone calls and letterbox drops, door knocks, is like certain things that we can do. Is if you're really struggling in those zones, there is always going to be listings that are popping up. So you've got signboards there from different agents, right? That you can go through. So one thing you can do is you go through and you have a look at all the signboards that popped up. If it's in that zone, you go, okay, well, cool. Let's go to that zone. I've got my prospecting strategy in place that I'm going to do some door knocks, but I'm going to do some letterbox beforehand. And those letterbox drops can be, "Hey, just letting you know there has been a new property listed in the area, and I'll keep you up to speed on what that goes for, what pricing it goes for." But if it has created some curiosity around real estate and your journey in real estate, I'll be in your street or around, or I can pop around and to give you an update. And then what happens is you can do the door knock, okay? And you door knock the people. "Hey, did you see my letter?" You're warming up. You've just warmed up the data. "Have you seen my letter?" "No, you haven't." "Well, this is the letter. This is the property. This is the information that I'm here to talk to you about." "Oh, really? Yeah. So, you know, and then you have that conversation and you're trying to get that data. Okay, so that's one strategy. The other thing that you can do is what we all of us have done before with us boys. Price drive letters are fantastic. You know, so you can focus on, let's say, 8 streets over the 4 weeks or whatever it might be, and you go, street week 1, this is what I'm hitting there. Week 2, week 3, week 4, and you do your price drive. "Hey, in the area right now, the marketplace has gone up X, Y, and Z. I am going to be performing property updates in your street. Okay, if you are interested, please give us a call. Book in a time. It only takes 5 to 10 minutes, and we'll give you some really lovely information." And if you're doing the price drive strategy within your area, farming area, and then doing the phone calls, doing the letterbox drops, doing the door knocks, then you should be able to collect the data. Now, again, making sure that you understand the whole principal target of this is trying to get the data in that's clean and then uploading it to your CRM to then create a database itself. Make sense?
Yep.
Right. Okay. Cool. Cool. I know it's a bit very heavy today, but it's the mechanics. It's the mechanics that we're working on right now. Okay. So what does the prospecting strategy look like? So in terms of, you know, the frequency, what you're doing, if you have a look at some of the previous stuff that we were talking about in organizing your week, organizing your prospecting strategy during the week and what you're doing. Generally speaking, what you want to do is you can't be prospecting every day in your farm area, because once you start getting listings, once you start getting, you know, buyers, your Monday and Tuesdays kind of filled up with negotiations and buyers. And so really Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is your day. Now, if you're a young agent, you can, a young agent coming into the marketplace, or fresh into the marketplace, and you haven't got a lot of listings, well, you could do this all day long, right? But generally speaking, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and if you don't have listings to open on the Saturday, then you can do it on Saturday as well. Saturday opens, door knocks are fantastic. You know, people are there, they're at home, generally speaking, they're not working. So what you want to be doing is you want to be, like I've got here, just here, you can do, you can split up your zone. And in that zone 1, what you got is, let's say, week 1, you might do some phone calls. Week 2, you might do some letterbox drops. Week 3, you do door knocks, and then week 4, you kind of audit your zone spreadsheet and go, what did I miss? What have I got? What do I need to get? And potentially kind of fill it, and then kind of enter all your data. Or you could do all of that on, let's say, you know, Wednesday you're doing letterbox drops, Tuesday you're doing door knocks, Friday you're doing this. So you can kind of split it up, but you have to have a bit of a strategy on how you're going to do it, and then kind of go through using your spreadsheet, go through your streets. The other thing is, bearing in mind, yes, you can get other people to do all this stuff for you, but I think in the first year, if you're going to go hit the streets, right, look around, you talk to people, you know, then you know your local schools, you'll know your local shops, because you know, there's going to be times where you're door knocking and you're thirsty or need some food, you're going to go to the shops, you know. You know,
it's happened when people offer you water.
Yeah.
Food,
and same with, like, you know, you're going to be door knocking in the area when there's going to be school runs, so you kind of know the schools, and so you really want to kind of immerse yourself. This is especially the door knocks and kind of being engaged in your community or your area, right? This is really going to help you. So I'd highly recommend just do that for the first 12 months. If you just do the grunt work, right, and really immerse yourself and visit the people, talk to the people, you then become, you're kind of like the local mayor, if you will. Right? And then you know, especially like door knocks, you know, who here finds door knocks, you know, challenging, because you're like, oh God, you know, it's, yeah, I got to talk to people.
Yeah, I'll find them challenging.
But ultimately, like, there is nothing that you really need to be doing in a door knock, by just saying, like, you can literally just say, here's my card, I'm just saying hi, what's up? That's all you have to say. Like, there's no special trick or anything like that. From there, if you wanted to, you know, once you do that 1,000 times, you get really good, you know. But anyway, so that's your prospecting routine and strategy. Okay, and so I've also got, what I've done is I've kind of put this together, and this is all going to be in a folder. So for people that want to kind of, and it's obviously for free for everyone at Alpha State of Mind, but this is going to be the folder. You're going to have these directives so you can use it yourself. I've got the template for the spreadsheet as well, so you can then kind of put it all together yourself. But you can see here, and the processing and what's going on as well. All right. And then database, that's what I just said before. So in terms of consistency, you really want to be doing that every 4 months you're hitting a new zone. Okay, so that's pretty important. And then the other thing that I'd be doing is as with everything, your time and your marketing and return of investment, you want to be kind of tracking. You know, in zone 1, what you do, how many appraisals did you get? How many listings did you get out of that? How much data did you get out of that? You want to be tracking that. Okay. And that's at the fourth week, you're kind of going, okay, how much did I kind of get out of those? Those numbers are very important because, with that, you can turn it up or turn it down. And also the other thing is, what data didn't you get? That's what you're going to be hunting for in the next repeat month that you're going to be there as well. So that's very important as well. Right. So the other thing is, what I'd be doing is in terms of your database and your area, the data is going to change with listings and sales happening in your area, right? You're going to have data and they've listed with someone else. And then what happens is that you lose that data. So what you want to be doing is when you're doing your monitoring of the zones, and when a new listing comes up, you want to kind of isolate that and identify it. And then from there, when it does sell, because I guess that's the most important thing. When it does sell, you got to go to that property again. You got to door knock. Hey, I've noticed that you've sold, and you get that data again. So it keeps the data then always fresh and up to date and up to speed. So that's basically the kind of rundown on how to actually put together a database in your core market area. Right, you want to really be doing, this is just a recap, you really want to be splitting up in zones, number one, right, making sure you get the phone numbers, then you got the frequency of when you go there, your prospecting strategy, and like I said, the previous meeting, or the presentation that Chris had, you're using all that information, all that marketing to then kind of put onto the clients itself. So that's pretty much the rundown, guys. I know we've finished a little bit short, but I think that's an important thing, especially for a new agent or an agent trying to rediscover a new zone, on how to set this up. Because that was a question I was asking a few other agents were asking me, like, how do we do this? Like, and this is the mechanics of it all.
Shall we run through a few role plays, Marco?
Yeah, cool.
I just wanted to say that one of the things I think that's really essential for new agents when they get into real estate is to literally door knock, right? Because we can sit here and say, oh, I hate doing door knocking. I know Bori hates doing door knocking, but I freaking love doing door knocks and I freaking love making phone calls. I like being told to F off, all of that stuff, because sometimes if you don't go through the first part, because as an agent, I think you have to go through stages. If you don't learn all this resilience stuff, it just makes you a better agent, right? It just makes you more credible. So I would say door knock. I would say make those phone calls. Cal Pesh, we know him. He built his entire business at EXP.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, a majority of the really successful agents, if you want to build the foundations to real estate success, the beginning foundations is having to grow yourself a database. And the easiest way to grow a database is by doing this.
Yeah.
You go out there, you shake hands, you knock on doors, you look at property, and by the way, you can't do it all the time. So this is the other thing with what I was talking about before, like wintertime, you ain't out there knocking on doors when it's, hailing and sideways rain. But, summertime is a fantastic, springtime doing this. But most agents that are successful, they start off by door knocking, by categorizing their data, then inputting the data, and then at the same time, then putting a frequency of when you're going to prospect, how many times you touch on the database. And that all of that is going to be a discipline that you'll have to learn. And once you do learn it, right, that is going to be real estate success. Like, I mean, we always talk about it like, what we're trying to do is teaching you how to fish. And once you learn how to fish, then you'll be catching fish forever. Isn't that right, Chris?
100%, mate. Yeah,
As a fisherman himself.
One of the things that's really important as well is that, like, you don't actually have to make those phone calls to get those appraisals. You'll get those from letterbox dropping and door knocking. They'll be like, "Oh, do you want to come through my house?" Done.
Absolutely. There's so many times when when I first started this, I don't do this anymore, truth be told, because my database is 22,000 strong. Right, I've got a huge. And then all I do is my data is my farming area. So I've just accumulated, that many people. Out of that, I'd probably say only 2,000 I really communicate to, but the rest of those other people is they get the emails, they get the touch points, but I don't call all of them. I just call my raving fans and my champion people that I talk to, past sales, people I like talking to, because once this is I guess the ideal situation. Once you get to this point of doing this, then warming up the data, then talking the frequency, then you're just making prospecting phone calls to mates.
Yep. Emails, texts, phone calls.
Yeah, and that's it. And then the other thing is, like, you do all these things, they're your mates, and then what happens is all of a sudden you start, like you were saying before, you start getting texts and phone calls like, "Hey Marco, you sent me this thing or that thing, or you helped my mate and that, and hey, guess what? I just want you to help me with this," and it becomes pretty much systematic after that.
Yeah, man.
Do you want to just unscreen share, mate, if that's the sharing's all done, so we can see your beautiful face in a larger format? That's perfect.
Like I said, I've put together, I've got scripts and dialogues in the folder that I'm going to share with everyone. So that will help you with the phone call, cold calls, the phone calls around the signboards or opposition boards, as well as your own, the scripts and dialogues for door knocking. And then I've also got the presentation we just talked about. Not only that, but I'll throw in the spreadsheet format. And then finally, also price drive letters as well. We've also got DLs that you can do as well. So there's just some formatting there that you've already got that you can play with, which I'll share. And then that way there you can kind of go forth and conquer.
Yeah. Get on the boat.
Yeah.
Your axe.
I think that's really important too, though. Like, it's just about giving information with no expectations in return. Like, I remember the clipboard days, man. I used to go door knocking. I got the spreadsheet like that. I'd literally rock up, and that's what I'd do. I'd be like, "Hello, Chris Jansen, EXP Realty. Look, I'm a local real estate agent, and I keep the local residents informed on what's happening in the local marketplace. Your neighbours, I send them a bi-monthly report, and I assure you they have no intentions of selling, as I'm sure you don't as well. And that's not the purpose of my visit today, is to ask you if you want to sell. It's actually just to give you a report that I just send bi-monthly via email electronically to you. That'll just keep your finger on the pulse as to what's happening with supply, demand, local median prices, and it'll just give you a bit of an indication where your property's value is sitting in today's market. All I need, what's your first name, surname, and the best email address to get that to you on."
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's almost like reverse psychology. No expectations of selling. Your neighbors are not selling. It's not what I'm here for today. So yeah,
it's actually a really important tactic to give prospects an exit. You know, if they feel like they're stuck, like they're locked in or have to do it, as soon as you give them an exit, then they're open. It's like, "Hey, I'm not here to have it."
You've prefaced the whole conversation as well. This is who I am. This is what's going on. This is how long the conversation is going to be, and this is where we're going to go.
Yeah, exactly. Look, as a new agent and with no training back in a few years ago, you kind of walk into this world where you kind of figure this out for yourself. With the Alpha State of Mind, what you're getting is training up front. You're actually learning how to do the basics. And as Marco said, it is the basics. You go in there, you be known. Again, get back to door knocking and being in the area. I really like that. Real estate to me is like delivering pamphlets, is like being a kid, was what I did as a kid, and sort of catching up with people, knocking on doors and saying hi to people. That was the culture of where I grew up in a small town. You knock on the door, yoo-hoo, put the kettle on. It's true. And you know,
Bickies.
Yeah. Hello. And people like that, because I think that oftentimes people get a wrong impression, or they just have bad experiences with certain real estate agents that go around and they're really data driven. Like, well, is it the market's gone up 6.2% and the median, like, that switches people off. Most people are just wanting to say hi.
That's just in your I guess your toolkit of information. Some people don't want that information. They go, "Oh, you know, how are you doing? What's going on, Marco?" Like, like Cheryl and Barry. They just want to have a chat because they're retired. They don't have a lot of conversations with a lot of people, so they've got a lot to. But those are the people. Like, you got your. That's the other thing. Like your neighborhood watch. Like there's always a Beryl or a Barry on the street that knows everything that goes on in the street. And they're the people we tap into.
In saying that too, guys, because I'm a little bit different as well. Well, I think it's very important that people know that I'm here for business as well. So sometimes I do ask direct questions, and I say, "Listen, Marco, like I'm here because I do want business. If I could achieve a certain price for you, would you be open to having a chat about selling your property?"
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and they will start disclosing to you what they want. You know, if they could get a certain price, they would upsize, and then you can ask them about when they want to start doing that. You know,
Yeah.
so
But the
yeah,
other one is the other good question as well, Bori, is that, like, if you had an opportunity, would you move to a desired location? Like, have you ever
yeah,
had thoughts? Have you ever had thoughts, a dream to move to a location? Yeah, well, okay. Well, let's have a look at how we can achieve that for you. What price point would we need to achieve for this home for you to get to your dream location? Like, I've
yeah.
thought about it many times, and Chris and I have thought about it a few times now, where I go, gee, Sunshine Coast, Noosa.
Yeah, mate, I'm ready to go. I'll set up everything. We'll go today.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's so true. I mean, that, doing that conversation in the GFC market when we started wasn't a conversation, because it's like, well, your home's actually worth less than what you paid for it 3 years ago. So, don't worry about that magical blank check number, because the market's come back 8%. Whereas now in the market nationally, everyone's in a far better position value-wise than they were 3-4 years ago. So it's a great question to ask in this climate, when things are buoyant and strong and values are ahead drastically from where they were 2-3 years ago, is ask that question. Boring. I help people move in life, and part of that is I sell property. And
Yeah,
often people need to downsize and upsize, or they want to change scenery and location. If I could bring you a blank check with a number in it that would give you what you need, would you take that number to upgrade, downsize, or change location? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we had been thinking about, if we could get maybe 8, it'll give us a little bit more to buy the home, put some money in the bank, start slowing down in readiness for retirement. Okay. So it's a great time to ask those questions,
But
particularly in a really positive, buoyant
yeah,
market.
and it has to be
even in like in the GFC markets that we worked in, Chris, what you're doing there is you're doing a different tactic. Are you in a position to purchase? Okay, how long have you been here for? Great. Do you know the equity in your property? Is there a possibility that you can potentially buy an investment property? Have you spoken to a mortgage broker or a bank? Can we potentially grow your wealth? Like, I mean, right now is a tough time. It'd be a whole lot less tougher if you had a few investment properties making you money.
yeah, absolutely.
Correct. Yep. Yep.
So let me get you in contact with my relationships and my contacts. Over the last 12 months, I've been able to make a few homeowners now multi property investors, and they're having a fantastic time. Would you like me to show you the roadmap on how we can do that as well? Because, like, like the old generation of people that were like the depression years, they grab their property and they sit on it, and then that's it. Where it's no longer a cool thing to do, because you sit on it. What, you paid off your house 20 years ago, you haven't done nothing with the asset to potentially make you more money.
Yeah, it's called closing the retirement gap, or closing your superannuation gap. A lot of people think they have to pay off their home in order to start doing all that investing. And then when you sort of say, well, you've probably got 300, $400,000, you could probably actually buy one or a couple of properties. And that may
Exactly.
actually, if you've got low superannuation, this may actually cover it.
And Mr.
So,
and Mrs. Vendor, like, you got to understand, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, the marketplace in real estate is very much, it's a cyclical market. So, every 8 years we have these ups and downs and dips and so on and so forth. And right now we are in a down market. This is the perfect time to purchase, right? Let me help you to get yourself ready, because when that turns and it goes up, we're going to create wealth for you. We're going to make, you're going to have extra equity in there. And then that would be another perfect time for you to purchase again. So you're just leveraging the markets. And let me show you how to do that. When you say stuff like that to a vendor, especially when you're knocking on a door, right? They go, you know what? This is not just a free market appraisal. By the way, I hate that. When has market appraisals ever had like cost to it? Like, who's charging for market appraisals and evaluations and stuff like that?
you might actually start charging
I'm
for them.
charging now.
Makes money.
Yeah.
But so
But
what's really great
when you have
about this?
when you're having
So what's
those kind of conversations, you're going to stand out from the crowd, right?
Yeah.
And like the hundreds of agents that are knocking on doors going, would you like an updated market? But when you're having conversations like that, they go, you know what, this guy here or this lady here has got some real information that could change my life, and I want to hear more.
What I really like, Marco, is if you want to go with a soft approach, you can go something like, let's say a house down the road went up for sale and it's sold, and you go, knock knock, hey Marco, how you going?
Right.
Good, good. I'm just here. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I didn't know if you noticed that 123 Main Street just sold.
Oh yeah, no, I did see the sold sticker when I drove past the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm just here because I didn't know if there's anything I can do for you.
Well, I mean, I was just wondering what it sold for.
Yeah, well, it sold for $500,000, and that was about $50,000 more than the projected market
Oh, really?
was going for.
That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's a great price.
which is great. We didn't sell that one, but that has increased the value of your property.
Yeah.
Are you thinking about doing anything at all?
Oh, not really, not really at all, Bory. But
That's
yeah, it's
absolutely fine. Is it all right if we stayed in touch so when you do decide to do something, we can work together?
yeah, absolutely done.
Perfect, man. That's it.
Very
Bang.
simple. Very simple. You know, or
Direct.
like the other one I like, you know, it's sold for 550,000. You know that now the whole street's value has gone up. Would you be interested in seeing understanding on how much value has been increased on your property and how much equity have you just made? Just stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
I understand that you're not selling, but it would be good to know your greatest asset and how much equity you're actually sitting on.
Spot
Yeah.
on. Spot on. I love it, mate. We understand the mechanics now. We've got the zones set up. We know how to pull the data, where to go to create your zones and your areas.
Yep. We've got some
You
scripts
know,
and dialogues,
we've got some scripts and dialogues, which you'll
and then
share
we've
and
got
put it in the alpha page later today as well. We've got the report from. So what I'm liking as the I guess formalization of this dual two-part session is you've got all that now. You've got how to create it, where to get the data, to export it, to set up your data spreadsheet, scripts of what to say, whether you're calling or door knocking to build the data. Just imagine if people were hearing from you folks every couple of months in that manner, and then to just tie it off nicely, you're doing that community report that just gets dropped into their letterbox every
yeah.
month anyway, or bi-monthly religiously. But
That-
again, don't give up because it took me 15 months of doing this stuff in the
yeah.
beginning in 2009 before I jagged my first listing in the area. And I see so many agents that 8 months in, there's no return. It's not working, right? It has to be somewhere between 8 and 13 contact points, as Marco said from the beginning, before they even remember who you are,
Yeah.
what you do. So how do you get to those 8 to 13 contact points? We've just shared it with you this week. We shared it with you last week. One little thing that I also add, mate, that I used to do that I no longer do at the moment just because of time efficiencies, but I'd encourage this if you're setting up in an area to really dominate. And this worked really well. Again, with the mindset of abundance, giving something with no expectations in return. Every settlement that settled in my core area every month, even though I hadn't even sold a home for the first 15 months before I got my first listing, I was rocking up to those people's door a few weeks, or maybe a week after they bought and settled through another agent, right? And I would get a little bag that was branded me. What do you call those shopping bags? Is it Hessian bag or, that
Yeah. Yeah.
material
Yeah.
Hessian bag, right? Get your face,
Nice
your
bag.
mobile number, all of that. Put your calendar in there, put your business card in there. Get the wheelie bin cycle when the yellow bin and the red bin goes out. And then get on board with some local business sponsorship as well. So get to the local
It's a
cafe,
magnet.
promote
Yeah,
them,
magnets on
get
it. Yeah.
something. Yeah, and I used to put in there just a bottle of wine, mate, with a label on it of their picture, similar to what we do as settlement gifts now with my contact information. And I used to rock up and I'd say, "Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Home Purchaser. Welcome to Burton 5110. Look, you don't even know who I am, but I'm this crazy local real estate agent who is the proud expert in your area. And I know you didn't even buy this home from me, but I just wanted to personally welcome and give you something about our local community here in Burton." Now, straight away, people used to get on the back foot and like, "Who is this guy?" Oh, and you're giving something. So naturally, the reaction is they take it and they start rummaging through and having a look and pulling out the wine. And oh, by the way, this is when your bins need to go out. Did the agent tell you when, Thursdays is your red bin and the alternative? No, we didn't get all of that, right? Often, sometimes they didn't even get a settlement gift, right? So then it
Yeah.
breaks the ice and you start talking about the local businesses, not even you. And then what I would do is I'd say, "Look, by that point, you probably got their name. Tony, you're not going to sell for many years. You've just bought in this beautiful area that I love working and residing here myself. But look, what I do for your neighbors every month is I send them a report electronically to their email address that just keeps them updated as to the capital growth in the area, which allows them to pinpoint potentially the value of their home. I'd love to do the same for you. What's your first name, surname, and best email address for me to get that report to you on?"
There you
Right?
go. You've just updated your database.
Do give, give, give.
Mm.
Welcome, area packs. I'd be doing that religiously if I was starting out from day one again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. And I've seen so many successful agents like here in Adelaide that are, there's one in particular that was religiously doing that for many, many years. He sells, I think, something like 250 homes a year. And that is still on repeat in his suburb.
Yeah, I'm big on
100%.
Tim Tams, so I like to really get big on the Tim Tams. Just let's be friends.
Let's be friends with some Tim Tams.
I've got a really big printer. You guys want to hear about that?
Get yourself a printer, guys.
All right, I guess that's it, boys. What are we doing next week? What are we on? What are we doing next week as time?
Tony's on.
Tony's on.
Yeah, I'm on.
So give us a little lead into next week, brother.
I will. What I really enjoy, this is again, we get back to door knocks and all of those types of things, phone calls, is nurturing your clients, your potential clients. Then they become your clients. We're talking pre-appraisal, post-appraisal, pre-listing, post-listing, dashboards for people that come through your open homes. No more is there a need to just send big long texts with links in them. We're going to teach you how to create cute little websites that are simple, professional, that have all the details and sell you all the way to sale, and then post-sale. Then you're managing your people who've bought your property and still nurturing your.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. So you showed me this this week and last week, and I'm like, ooh, that's hot.
Yeah. Look, and you know what? It's actually simple. You just have to get into a routine, and then this is the way I'm seeing it. Once you've got all this into play, then Marco's actually going to talk about this other thing, which is where automation of your emails and your text messages.
But
I'll go the week afterwards.
Yeah.
Just because I haven't presented in a while.
That's true. Yeah, good point.
I guess with AI moving so fast, the stuff that you're going to show, Tony, next week, you can actually replace some of those subscription-based programs that are very expensive and creating something that's very cheap and you look very professional.
Yeah, as I say to, and I was saying to Chris the other night after the GrowCon, is like, while big agencies are spending $3-4 million on systems, what you can get is the equivalent of a Netflix subscription and do a lot of this stuff yourself. And the difference is that agents, like in our field of EXP, what we do is we can move quickly and we can just pick and swap the bits we need and work out what's the most efficient and cost effective.
And that's the key. That's the key.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
that's the beautiful thing.
The issue is with big companies, they're like a massive ship, right? And if they need to turn on a dime, they can't. What you want to be a speedboat.
Yep, exactly. You want to be a speedboat.
You got the best, huh? Is the Hungarian
big ship? A big ship. You can't turn on a dime. But it's so true. It's so true. We spoke about that at GrowCon, guys. Like, we're in this incredible era where the agent can be super nimble. They can pivot quickly just with plugins, with tech and AI, more so than ever before. And that's why this is the era of the digital marketing agent. It's not coming. It's here. You can plug and play stuff really quickly into your businesses without needing the principal telling you yes or no what you can and can't have. Like the stuff we're sharing with you folks, it's plug and play, and it's here. It's ready to roll. So no more big ships. No more big ships. We want
more big ships.
More speedboat industry.
More speedboats, more sailboats
coming along out there.
More ball, less spam. And the beautiful thing is, guys, if you've got a website, right, and you're sort of going, oh, I need someone to build my website because it's this. All you need is technically a landing page, and then everything else will be links, and we'll go through all of that stuff next week.
Awesome.
Really I've got a quick announcement before we off.
Having another baby.
Today, I've just formalized and figured out instant price updates on websites. It's functional, it's working. No need for paying big APIs, thousands of dollars per month. We got it. We're going to present it future.
So clients can click on it. They put their address in, and they get an instant
instant price update there and then.
Oh, that's the week after.
I want to hear about
the week after. After trials and tribulations first, but I just did it and it works. And in saying that too, Chris, I've got a quick present for you, because with our websites, agents can actually go on there and enter in their current GCIs and spit out the numbers of what they're currently making versus what they'll make with EXP. So,
bro, you're not going to make me hang 2 weeks for this now. Come on, I need it today.
I'll give you a call.
I'm calling you straight after this,
every 2 weeks here. Every 2 days, sorry.
All right,
Alright.
guys. Thanks for joining us on another Agents Weekly Blueprint by the Alpha State of Mind. Marco, magnificent, magical Marco. You always bring the goods with the mechanics. It's like a well-oiled beast just humming along. Chaps, have a great weekend, folks. Thanks for joining us. Marco will share some of this content onto our page over the next day or two. Just understand we are still listing and selling, right? We're running businesses. So if we don't get it up there straight away, but just check in over the next 24, 48 hours,
Open
he'll
inspection
upload all
in
that.
30 minutes.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, you better get going. Have a wild weekend, maybe bring you lots of success and abundance, and we'll catch you next week, folks. Thanks for
Thanks,
tuning
guys.
in.
Guys, appreciate it.